Good evening. It's time for the On Air Book Club. My name is Titi Oyinsan, and here we're talking books and the messages within. For those that know me, they know I am such a big fan of reading and the written word. There's so much you can learn from within the pages of a book, and the learning is continuous. And you can go back to the same book two, three, four times and learn three, four different things and even more over and over again. So this is our way on the Dynamite Podcast Network of giving people the opportunity to remember how they felt when they picked up a book. Sometimes it's the physical book that brings back the nostalgia. Sometimes it's the e-version. There are, of course, loads of e-books everywhere these days. But it is the text, it is the literature, the messages within that make it so extra special. At this point, I'm going to introduce our guest. But let's see if we are streaming on Instagram. Let's see if we are streaming on Instagram. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Let's see. Okay, almost there. All right, while I'm working on this, I'd like for you to maybe think about the very first book you ever, picked up. That picked you up. First book that connected with you, the first book that you memorized a line from. A lot of people, of course, mention religious text. Some mention self-help books. Some mention some amazing prose that just connected with them, maybe because of a particular character. Just think about what book that was and maybe use the comment section right down below. You could be streaming with us on YouTube or Instagram, or indeed on Spotify, iHeartRadio, or even Apple Podcasts. No matter where you're watching or listening to us from, put in your comments there. We'll be able to read them out live. Okay, then. So today's episode is diving into the world of business with a brand new book titled Driving Business Growth. The author is Gabriel Balogun, or should we say GB Balogun. Now, he is someone who has fantastic resources, and he has put together this tool as a guide, a manual, a handbook for everyone, and it's all rolled into one so that it can help businesses leverage learning and development initiatives for growth. And when I say leverage, we're going to talk about that word leverage a bit later on. Driving business growth is important for a year like this. Now, when he reached out to us with this fantastic resource, we decided to focus on key areas: sales, leadership, operations, and of course, customer support. That is all capsuled in this particular book. A little bit about Gabriel Balogun here. He is a speaker, workshop facilitator. He's also an L&D leader, known for cultivating high-performing teams using a blend of content, tech, and people. Now, he coaches individuals, consults for companies and organizations, and speaks regularly on subjects that empower human capital and drive personal development. With over a decade of experience as an academic director at both Analytics Intelligence and UTIVA, and working currently as head of learning and development, he has helped organizations develop and transform talents that deliver outstanding results. It's great to have you here with us, Gabriel GB Balogun. Welcome to the On Air Book Club.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to do this with you, Titi. So glad.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us, and congratulations on this new book.
Yeah, thank you. Excited about it. First book on business. I've written a lot of books, but this is the first book on business. So I hope to do a lot more of it.
First business book, meaning you are dabbling into a space where you can be, well, not just called an author, but you can stand side to side or side by side with other, in quote, authors and writers. And there's a reason why this is important. But I want to hear from you why this was important to you to get this book out. Talk to us.
Very, very simple. So I think of myself as a guiding light symbolically. And what that means is I primarily see myself as a body of light shining. And through that light, people gain clarity to do the things that they want to do, to put their best self and their best work into the world. And I just figured, what can I give the world on my birthday that is a valuable resource? Um, 10 years of doing this day to day, hands down, helping businesses scale and grow by managing their people and transforming their talents to deliver outstanding results. I figured that I owed the world to share some tips here and there that if they begin to practice today, can help them achieve outstanding results. That's one. Two, I also wanted to leave, think of it as, when um, children eat, they leave crumbs along the path. So I wanted to also leave value trails on the internet, such that when you download or you Google my name, beyond my name popping up on various places, it will also pop up that this person is an author and this person has written a book. So one is the general reason of just helping businesses and individuals drive high performance, and the second is just personal, to leave imprints of myself um, in the world, primarily on the internet. That's why it's an ebook.
So I like the fact that you were extremely honest about that, about leaving a footprint, your own mark on the world. This is not. This would have been something that people would have thought of as self-serving before, but these days in 2024, it's just been noted that if you don't toot your own horn, nobody is going to toot it for you. If you get what I'm saying.
Yes.
Um, you do have the experience. You've spent a lot of time working on your brand,
Yeah.
and you've taught quite a lot of people in the past. So why not put everything in the book? Why not encapsulate everything? And which speaker was it that said, "Do it afraid"? Who was it that said, "Do it and leave yourself empty"? Do you remember who that was?
I can't even remember. I know it's going to be one of those old philosophers, though.
All right, we're
It has
gonna
to be
go
one of those old philosophers.
we're going to go into the book in a bit, but let's talk a bit about your experience as an L&D professional.
Mm,
And of course, you must have faced quite a few challenges. Learning and development in Nigeria wasn't ever really truly a focus or forefront for many companies, but you've literally, written the book about it. So talk to us about that aspect of your journey.
Um, for the longest of times, and even till now, I still describe learning and development as the lesser known brother of the people triplets. Um, in business, you have the people triplets. I call them the people management, or I call them the people management triplets. You have um, talent acquisition, which is the recruitment of people into the organization. You have talent engagement, which is the management of people in the organization. And you have talent development, which is the equipping and the building of capacity of the people in your organization. And for the longest of times, people knew the talent acquisition and the recruitment, hiring and firing of HR. Um, and then subsequently moved from that to, okay, now if you keep hiring and firing, the organization will not grow. So we need to find a way to engage our people and ensure that they want to stay. And then after all, they figured out that, okay, beyond giving them bonuses and giving them huge salaries. We also need to equip them so that they can deliver high performance and all of that. And in 2014, I discovered that I had this deep passion for training people, right? I didn't even call it training there. I just loved to help people grow. Honestly, that's what I was passionate about. I wanted to help people become better at what they were doing. And I think we've had this conversation before, Titi, where I was telling you that I had to go
Okay.
through a period of defining what my ikigai was, my reason for being.
Sure.
And beyond all the story, I figured out that um, this all helping people develop themselves satisfied four key areas of my life. One was my passion. I loved it. I really, really loved doing it. It satisfied my mission, which was to help people become their best self. It satisfied my vocation, which was something that I could get paid for, right? And it also satisfied my profession, something that I could build a career around. And 2014, leaving the university, stepping into the real world, I figured out that the version that the world knows about this human capital development is what is called learning and development. And the most basic version of it is what people call training, right? So I interned with one of the biggest corporate trainers in the country as of that time, learned the ropes, and from there just started growing and growing. And I'm proud and happy to say that from 2014 till today, I have only done one job that was not centered around learning and development, but was still centered around speaking and writing, right? But I stayed true to the path, and perhaps maybe that's why I have enjoyed a bit of success that I'm currently enjoying with it. So that's like an abridged version of my story.
So when you say a bit, I know you're being modest, but you've indicated your intention right here. You say your intention with this resource is to place in your hands, or the people's hands, the reader's hands,
Yeah.
a manual you can use to drive your business growth using learning and development initiatives.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to go through some parts of the book in a bit.
All
Let's
right.
not let the whole cat out of the bag yet, so that people can still go. But there are some really key nuggets in there, but I still want to sort of dig a little deeper
Mm.
on learning and development initiatives. What do you
All right.
consider critical presently for the business landscape of 2024? What
Mm.
do you consider most critical as a factor when it comes to implementing learning and development initiatives?
Leadership support.
Okay.
No matter how not ground, no matter how grand your idea is,
Mm,
if you don't have the big man, I call the big man the founder or the CEO of the company. If you don't have the CEO of the company passionate about the development of his people, no matter how unique, beautiful, exciting your initiative is, it will not scale. You may do it once and then may never do it again, right? So, the most vital part of driving learning and development initiatives in businesses is the executives giving you their buy-in, because the funds you need, the people you need, all the resources you need, financial, human resources, material resources, physical resources, all will come from the executives decks, right? So I feel like that's the vital
mm.
um, part of any initiative that you're going to drive. You have to get buy-in from the top.
Buy-in from the top. I feel like there's been a group of top-heavy companies who
Mm.
have a lot of leaders and directors who are heavily paid to let everyone know that they are the only resource that everyone needs. Do you get where I'm going with that? So Yeah. So in other words, yes, they are the directors, they are the senior management of the organization, and
Mm,
they are being paid to tell everyone what to do. Why? Because they are the reservoirs of knowledge.
mm.
Am I there? I'm not trying to, poke holes in anybody's,
Oh
platform,
God.
but I'm just thinking about this knowledge gap matter because
Mm,
obviously what applies in 2024 with the advent of multiple new technologies, making business easier, making it smoother, also making a certain sector of society almost irrelevant in their knowledge.
true.
Um, you talked a lot about identifying knowledge gaps, especially with regards sales teams,
Yeah.
sales strategies now, sales
Yeah.
teams. What are some of these effective ways that people can get accurate results with regards to surveys in
Mm.
2024?
I think that the most accurate way to get um, results, especially when you're trying to identify gaps, is not to leverage on surveys alone. All right. I know in the book I mentioned that you should conduct a survey. Um, a survey is not necessarily a Google form.
Hmm.
A
Okay.
survey is you taking out time and using any resource to discover things. So you could use a form, you could use focus group meetings. The bottom line is that you are sending people or asking people a bunch of questions and they are responding. That's how I think of surveys. And the best way to get accurate results is to be honest upfront while you are conducting the survey. If I
Hmm.
come to you and I tell you that I've gone through your numbers and in the last 3 months, you've not met 50% of the sales target.
Hmm.
And I don't come to you brash. I don't come to you scolding you. I don't come to you cussing, but I come
Hmm.
to you saying, I really want to help you. Like, that's why I'm being paid. I'm paid to help you, right? Where are you struggling? Can you tell me where you are struggling? Is it that you don't understand how our product satisfies or meets the customer's need? Is it that you don't um you get afraid when you're speaking to people? Is it that you don't know how to speak good grammar? So you feel like if you talk for too long, you will say the wrong things? Or is it that where's the problem? When you come from that perspective of trying to understand where they are suffering or where they are finding challenges, they would
Hmm.
give you genuine answers, right?
Hmm.
Majority of them will give you, I think I should put that. Majority of them will give you genuine answers. The ones that want to keep their job will give you genuine answers. The ones that want to get their commission will give you genuine answers, right? So it starts from a place of communicating that you want to help, not that you want to discover this for the sake of knowing. You want to help. I want to help you. Um, Tell me what it is. And then you can send them, and then the way you phrase your questions matter. So for instance, instead of saying list the places that you are struggling, you can
Hmm.
say something like, I am struggling because A,
Okay.
I can't speak well. B, I'm afraid of strangers. C,
Okay.
this, this. You take it from they read it like they are speaking. It doesn't now come like a question anymore. Because when you ask, tell me the places you're struggling, it feels like an interrogation. But when you say, I
And
am, okay,
it then feels like you're putting them on the defensive almost all,
exactly.
instead of just acknowledging that there's an issue in this organization
You get,
and we want to get to the bottom of it.
you get,
I actually appreciate that. Because there are just a lot of people in denial, and that has so I guess that leans towards the role playing aspect of things.
exactly.
um, and these exercises you've mentioned, we've talked about this before on my show on TV.
Mhm.
This issue of role playing and conducting role playing exercises to sort of help with a sales team's issues.
Mm.
There was a question you asked in your book. Let me see. Are your customers leaving? you know, so you twisted the question just now. You said we should add why instead of asking, am I it? You said I should add why. So isn't this going to be changed to maybe why are your customers leaving?
That's also going to be why your customers leaving. I mean, the
Yeah,
intention with this was, if you run through the book, you see that many of the questions at the top are like pain points.
sure.
That's why they are written the way they are written. But
Mm,
like you said, if it was going to be a survey, it will
sure.
be, my customers are leaving because.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
So
Because
think of
yeah.
it. It will sound like they are reporting or telling you. So these questions should come from. Should read it like they are telling you something. I am hungry because I cannot write well because, and then you give them all the possible options that can be, and then
Mm,
also space for them to put out
sure.
their thoughts.
This is actually a very interesting page here. Are you struggling to keep your customers? Beyond
Yes,
just having a product that works, here are three ways you can make them stay. Number
yes,
one, cheat sheets. Develop user friendly guides that simplify your product usage for customers. Then, number two is how to use content. Create
very
short
important.
videos on how to perform certain tasks while using your product. Then, number three is intentional conversations. Host virtual live sessions on maybe Zoom or Google Meet or Microsoft Teams or whatever platform you're using where customers can engage and get their questions answered. Customers don't just leave, they leave because they can't use your product, they don't see the benefits, or because your product is bad. Eh? You said my product is bad. You dare to say my product. Okay, so I read that aloud for the benefit of those streaming on audio platforms and who
Oh
can't that
God.
I just displayed on Restream. But that's an interesting conversation to begin here. First of all, let's talk about the cheat sheets. User-friendly guides to simplify your product usage. That's not the manual, right? That's not the manual that you put inside the product. What is a cheat sheet? Describe it for me.
All right. So you know how you play video games and you have the manual that comes with the game on how you can use the controller. But then
Mm,
there are certain people that have played the game, and by reason of use, they've mastered certain, that if they press this button 3 times, this is what it will do. They do
okay.
like a simple photograph or a simple sheet where they just put, if you want to move from point A to point B 3 times faster than normal, do down, down, forward, right? That's a cheat sheet. A cheat sheet is shortcuts. So someone does a whole 2-page document on all the shortcut keys that you can use while working on Excel. Those are cheat sheets. That's an
Mm,
example of a cheat sheet.
okay.
Something
You're
that
saying
allows you to do it
create,
faster than.
you're saying create one for your product, your
Yes,
services.
yes.
Okay. Hmm.
Um, Again, think of it this way. I explained it by saying develop user-friendly guides that
Okay.
simplify the product usage for customer. So you know how there is a company that has a debit card, but that company serves businesses and individuals. So personal and business bank. They offer personal and business banking services, but they have one debit card. Now that debit card can, if I'm speaking to the personal bankers, that debit card can be a card that they can use to pay for things. Can be a regular debit card. But then that debit card can be explained as a cheat sheet to business owners by saying you can take 5 of those cards and put it in your 5 branches. And instead of sending money to the accounts of the managers of those branches, you can use those cards and then monitor how they spend. So it's the same card, but you've created two different sheets for it. One for regular users that can just pay for anything, but then you describe it as a business management tool for the second user. That's
Sure.
literally what a cheat sheet is.
Okay. Okay. Fantastic. I love it. I love it. I never thought about it as a cheat sheet. So I want to bring it down to someone who is even doing. I don't want to use the term petty trading. Maybe
Okay.
selling. I don't know, grain. There are so many
Mm,
things you can use flour for instance.
exactly.
So if you have your own brand of packaged flour, some are using it to bake, some are using it to cook, some are even using
Mm,
it for some herbal remedies. Some
mm-hmm.
are even using it as a thickener for glue.
Exactly.
People are using it for different things.
Exactly.
You are saying create a cheat sheet for that product.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
As
And
in,
this
for instance, you just let's use the petty trader example. You
mm,
know, it may seem very weird, but business is war. And because business is war, strategy is key. Without strategy, you would lose. If you have a small shop and you have another woman beside you that is selling exactly the same thing you sell, do you know that if you ask your educated child to go on Google and
mm,
discover the 20 things that they can use flour for, and then
sure.
you print it out, and for everybody that comes to buy, you give it to them and say, yeah, 20 things you can use flour for. We sell the best flour. Do you know you sell more flour than
Definitely.
the other person beside you? It may seem like a weird thing, but that's business strategy. So strategy is simply anything you do, whether huge or small, that can allow you just gain a new customer, that can allow you retain an existing customer, that can allow you sell a product, right? So again, that's a way you can use, because a learning tool, you have taught them how they can use flour to do 20 new things, and they will come back to your shop next time to buy.
Amazing, amazing. So it is interesting to find a balance between, you know, selling a very simple product like flour and generating more sales by creating a cheat sheet, or let's say a user-friendly guide that simplifies usage for customers. So now, of course, 2024 is a time where content has become king, and you mentioned content a bit in your book here. The name of the book, if people are just tuning in, is Driving Business Growth, and the author is Gabriel Balogun. He is an author, speaker. He is a workshop facilitator, L&D leader. And yes, thank you so much for tuning in. If you have questions, you can always add it to the comment section, or yeah, the comment section, or the quote section on whatever platform you're listening or watching us from. We will be able to ask those questions right here. Let's see. Business war strategy is key. I have this comment here from Dr. Benjamin Wayo. He says, business is war, so strategy is key. Thank you so much for that comment there, Dr. Benjamin Wayo, and thanks for tuning in. Let's see if we have any others coming in soon. We'll be able to read them out to you as well. But regarding his comment, some people haven't really seen business as war before. They just thought of it as sustenance. But once you take business, once you take business as war, are you going over the top in any case? Are you pushing the envelope, or are you just being intentional? What would you say to that?
Um, there's something my coach would always say. He would say that, are you running a business or are you running a lifestyle sustaining gig?
Okay.
And every time he says that, I always just have to ask myself, are you running a business? Are you running a lifestyle sustaining gig? And what that really means is, when you run a business, you have to approach it from, there's a reason why they call your competitors competitors. There's a
Mm,
reason why they call your advantage a competitive advantage. You
mm,
are you are doing an exercise that requires you to travail and battle with people for a portion of the market. So
Just a
when we
portion.
say just a portion, so when we say business as well, we're not saying it because it's a cool thing to say. We're saying that you need to wake up to that consciousness that if I am selling something, there are hundreds of thousands of people selling that thing. What
That's
will
it.
make them buy my own?
Of course.
Right?
What is
And so
that
you have to,
additional thing you can do
yes,
to put yourselves over the edge? Okay.
exactly. So you have to wake up every single day telling yourself, how am I going to ensure that the 100 customers I have remain?
Hmm.
How do I, because the business specialists will tell you that the battle is getting your first 10 customers. But the bigger battle is sustaining and retaining those 10 customers. Because you can get 10 customers on Monday, and by Friday, they are all gone. And then the next week, you get another 10 customers. You've just mastered customer acquisition. You've not mastered customer retention. And you can't
Wow.
scale that way, because what it means is that every week you just have 10. But imagine you get 10 this week. Out of that 10, you sustain them, and then the next week you have another 10. You've grown from 10 to 20. And the other week, another 10, you grew from 10 to 20 to 30. So you've mastered customer acquisition, you've mastered retention, and then you are thinking of scaling. So if it's a lifestyle sustaining gig, you are not thinking of retaining, you're just thinking that you want the next urgent 2K, the urgent 10K, the urgent money that
Just
comes. Right.
just
So
paying off the bills. Okay, okay. I want to go back to the matter of content here. We started the how to use content conversation. Short screencast videos is what you mentioned in your book on how to perform certain tasks while using your product. Is this similar to the cheat sheet? Um, when you say how to use content, you mentioned this in your book.
um, screencasts are different from, again, a cheat sheet can be anything.
Mm.
All right, it can be anything. It can be video content, it can be audio content, it can be text content, right? Screencast, on the other hand, are videos. So imagine that a screencast video is I am talking to you and I'm recording the screen, right? And at the end of it, the recording will record my voice and the activities going on the screen.
Sure.
So you will notice that there are ads nowadays that want to teach you how to use a certain product. And what you see on in the video is somebody clicking on certain things on the product. So I think that that's a primary how-to content. For instance, I've said this over and over again, and those that choose to hear should hear. You can't be selling tech and your primary goal. I think that if you're selling anything technology, it makes sense to have a demo video of what your tool can do.
Okay.
So that, because before you try to book a meeting with someone for you to demonstrate to that person, send them a 5-minute video of what the product can do. They can watch the video and decide that, okay, I need to know more about this product, and then come to you, right? As opposed to you trying to book meetings. Because if I don't care how well you speak, if your product cannot do what you are promising, it's a waste of my 30 minutes or 15 minutes having a demo call with you, right?
Sure.
So do an how to use seller to collect money or
Okay.
payments for your product, right?
Sure.
How to use the EcoBank app to transfer to GT Bank, how to use Money Point app
Yeah.
to, you need it's so important. And beyond the big companies, you can do it for your small businesses. You sell wigs on Instagram, how to clean your wigs, how to
Yeah.
properly brush your wigs,
Yeah.
and you put all those things as reels, right? And people just watch it and they learn and they stay with you and stay with you. And the day they have, I used to say this to somebody, for the longest of time, there's this coach that for as far back as 7 years, I've always wanted to pay for a service, but I couldn't afford it. But because
Wow.
of the content it was always giving out, I was always there till I got to the point where I could afford it and I paid for a service, right? But that's the power of content. How to's. That's what I meant.
Honestly, I love the cheat sheet, the how-to videos. I love those angles. And that question of your customers leaving is a big question. And
Very
that's
big.
one of the key questions you ask in your book, Driving Business Growth. It's so surprising to see how fast time has gone by. You won't believe it's already 5 minutes gone. And
Wow.
of course, there's still so much to gather from this particular book. The name of the book, one more time, is Driving Business Growth, and the author is Gabriel Balogun. Now, he is, of course, reachable on many different platforms, including LinkedIn, I believe. Yes,
Yes.
at Gabriel Balogun. I think you have it on the back of your book somewhere. Let me see if I can find that
Yes.
page and put it up on the screen. Okay, yes, so that's Gabriel Balogun right there. And he is encouraging you to embrace the power of learning and development to transform your business landscape and achieve sustained success. Start implementing these ideas today and watch your business thrive. Okay, so that's all I'm going to read from your book today. I appreciate you for taking our time to come and speak with us
Thank you for having
today.
me.
Really appreciate you. Thank you so, so much. And
Thank you.
yes, when you bring out your next book, please make sure you reach out to us so we can talk a bit more
Definitely.
about it.
I will. I will do that.
Final thoughts for someone listening right now
Yeah.
who has really been struggling with growing their business.
Yeah. Let me end with this. The world has wicked problems, and what that means is that the world is always going to be creating problems, right? But the solution to wicked problems are intelligent products. But intelligent products are not built by themselves. Intelligent products are built in sustainable processes created by capable people. I've used this whole piece to say that you need people to manage your processes that create the right products that solve the problems for your customers, right? So people are your biggest resource. If you're running a business, if you're doing anything and you are open to exchange money for it, you need to master how to leverage people to get things done. And you live in a world that is changing by the day. It is only the organization. I said this some time ago that the world dies the day it stops learning. The world is always learning. That's why it's evolving. So if you are running an organization where the people have not mastered how to be adaptable, then you need learning and development specialists or professionals to work with you to help your people become adaptable so that they can change with the climates and they can change with the business times as things are changing. They can also change and they can sustain and help your business achieve their big their what's it called now, your big overarching goal. Yeah.
Yeah, your goals. It's all about goals. It's all about growth. It's all about building your business. Today's book has been an extra special one. Thank you so much for joining us once again, Gabriel.
Thank you. Bye. Have a
All right.
beautiful day.
You too. All right. Now that is the On Air Book Club for for this hour. We are always pleased to have amazing Nigerian writers, authors come talk to us about their books and why they've decided to put pen to paper, why they've decided to put their thoughts into print. And there's a reason why you probably pause whenever you see someone who has written a book, because they have done something you probably wanted to do a long time ago and haven't done yet. Is there a book that possibly you wanted to write and you've just never got started? Yeah, I am one of such people. I enjoy writing and I enjoy reading. It's just putting the whole book together has been one of those hurdles I've been trying to scale. Don't worry, there are many just like you out there. But then for those who have published their books, we are always open to having conversations with you on the On Air Book Club. My name is Titi Oyinsan, and if you would like us to read your book on the podcast, please just send us an email. That's Dynamite Podcast Network at gmail.com. Dynamite Podcast Network at gmail.com. Send us the name of your book, the name of the author, maybe a little bit about yourself, and we will schedule you in. All right, then. Until next time, have a great day and please read and read and then proceed.